Okay, that's 7. I'm gonna dial 7, see if I can get it. Go to 1,000. Impact! First round impact at 1,000 with an AR platform, 6 arc. That's unbelievable, man. This is too fun, too easy, honestly.
What is happening, all of you sexy warriors out there? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm gonna give you 3 reasons why you should buy into the hype of 6 arc and 3 reasons you might wanna stay away from it. Let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. As I just mentioned, I am going to try to sell you and then also simultaneously not sell you, convince you to not get into the 6 arc, and kind of play devil's advocate for why I think this is such a cool caliber, why I really do believe this is the future, spoiler alert. But there are a lot of reasons why you may not want to consider one, especially as of today. But we're gonna go through those things in detail. And as we do, we'll kind of talk a little bit about this rifle and the setup. We will go through the whole breakdown at the end of the video. So if you guys are interested, stick around for that. But as always, this guy is over at rangedabro.com on our loadouts page. If you guys do want to support the channel, the biggest supporter of the channel is Brownells. So you can head over to rangedabro.com, check out the discounts page. RDB10 will save you know what over at you know where. And we have a bunch of other affiliate links and discount codes. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about 6 arc. Is it the future? Where does it lack? So let's just go ahead and get into it. So reason number 1 to not consider 6 arc is because you are a boomer FUD who never shoots past 100 yards. Hot take, I suppose. Just kidding, guys, but it doesn't fit your needs. Let's just put it that way. It's a little bit nicer way to say it. It does not fit your needs. Most people do not have the ability or have not sought out the availability to go find somewhere they can shoot longer ranges. And for you to really appreciate what 6 arc has to offer, it really does require a bit of distance, in my opinion. Much like an AR-10, right? Nobody likes mag dumping 308 into a berm 5 yards away. At least I do not enjoy that. Especially most of the ammo I buy is not M80 ball. It's very high quality match grade ammunition for my large frame gassers as well as the 6 arc. That's all that really exists for the 6 arc. A little foreshadowing there. Either way, if you can't shoot long range or you don't really enjoy shooting long range, you're really not going to appreciate all that this thing has to offer. Now, on the contrary, you could say if you're a hunter, you could really appreciate the energy that this thing has compared to its 5.56 counterparts using 108 grain ELDM or even the 105 grain Hornady boat tail hollow point ammo. The difference in the energy delivered on target is pretty substantial between 5.56 and 6 arc. So that could be a reason, even if you don't shoot long range, that you could appreciate the 6 arc. Again, I'm already getting ahead of myself, but let's move on to reason number 2. Hey guys, Editing Bro here today to talk about today's video sponsor, which is 801 Weapon Works. 801 Weapon Works specializes in custom, purpose-driven, ready out of the box AR-15s. They'll sit down with you to figure out exactly what you want out of your weapon platform and make it happen. They do everything from AR builds to rebuilds, suppressor tuning, barrel cutting and threading, Cerakote services, pin and welds, full build inspections, optic mounting and zeroing, as well as firearm sales, NFA sales, and accessories. They also provided this upper for today's review, and as you will see as the video goes on, they did a phenomenal job. So if you haven't heard of them or if you don't follow them already, go check them out and let them know that Range Day Bro sent you. Now, back to the video. So reason number 2 to not consider 6 arc is actually twofold. It's the magazine capacity as well as the reliability issues. Now right here, we do have a Geisley 6 arc magazine, which has been absolutely flawless. Although it does have one really cool trick, is that you can really quickly and easily pull the bottom plate right off. I don't want to pull it too far because we have a couple rounds in the mag. Don't worry, the gun is clear, completely empty, but I did just want to show you guys this. Even with tension on the mag, it does it just as easily or even easier without ammo in the magazine. That bottom plate slides right off. Now you guys know I'm a Geisley fanboy, but I do not run cover for anybody. Now these were donated to the channel. This guy, as well as this hilariously long 6 arc mag, this round mag from Geisley, were donated to the channel by a long-term supporter and subscriber of the channel, Steven. So big shout out to Steven for sending these out for me to test and review. Now, although this 20 rounder is hilariously easy to disassemble, I've had 0 issues with it, feeding or otherwise, locking the bolt to the rear. It has been absolutely flawless. That's just something I noticed one day when I was sitting in my chair tinkering with it, is that bottom plate wanted to come off super easy. So no feeding issues whatsoever. And the rounder does not have that issue either. So that is a big issue there, as well as capacity, right? This is a 29 round mag. This here is a 20 round mag. You can see how hilariously long this is compared to, this is the Elander mag. But it is the same size as the standard AR-15 mag, as far as I can tell. And you can see how much longer the round Geisley is than the 25 round Elander. This is a garbage mag. Do not waste your money on the Elander mags. They're absolutely terrible. Good old fashioned American PMag, baby. So PMag Gen 3 window. You could see, it doesn't, now I'm showing them side by side, it doesn't seem much longer, but it is like say goodbye to shooting in the prone. It looks so much longer than a regular PMag for whatever reason. Now that I'm showing them side by side, they don't seem much longer. Again, it's just another thing to consider. And besides these guys, these being fairly expensive, the price has come down, but you can't really find them anywhere. But I have had also very good success with the Durmag 26 round mags. I know a lot of people really hate the look of these mags. And I am not a fan either. I'd be lying to you if I said I was a fan of the banana clip in the AR-15. I'm not, but they just work. I mean, I have no issues with them. They're relatively smaller. They're smallish comparatively, right? Compared to a AR-15 mag. If it works, it works. That's kind of my philosophy. Who cares how it looks? In a gunfight, you're not gonna care how it looks. You're gonna want it to feed properly. And these guys are relatively affordable. I think these go for like 25 bucks on Brownells. So that's where I got this one from Brownells. I bought this mag and it's worked flawlessly. I've heard from a lot of people they've had success with other 15, 20 round Duramags as well, but this is the only one that I have experience with, so I can't speak to the others. Now, is it a huge deal to give up, 5 or 10 rounds of capacity per magazine? That's totally up for you guys to decide. I would argue that it's never a bad thing to have more ammo on you, especially in a gunfight. 99% of the rounds are going into the dirt as suppressive fire. It never hurts to have more ammo. So it's just something to consider if you're gonna run 20 rounders or 26 rounders. Every single round adds up and helps, so you're losing some capacity there. And until more recently, the reliability with the magazines hasn't really been there. Now that covers the second reason. Now let's get into the third reason why 6-ARC may not be for you, and that is gonna be longevity. Specifically with me in this rifle, this is a Noveske barrel and bolt combination, and I have only put 250 rounds through this rifle, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you consider the role that I think this thing will fill, more like an AR-10, I think it makes a little bit more sense to come out with a review, even though it's not the highest round count ever. Like I would really never think of putting a review out, even a first impressions review, with less than like 500 rounds through something, unless it was a large frame gas gun where ammo is really expensive. And that is another negative towards the 6-ARC as well. So I guess the list is adding up. I only came up with 3 and now they're adding up here on camera. But the ammo is fairly expensive right now, about $1.30 a round. It's approximately what you'd spend for really good 77 grain 5.56 ammo or really good 6.5 Creedmoor 308 ammo. I know there's a lot cheaper options for the 5.56. When it comes to comparable ammo and the other calibers, like the Hornady Black 6.5 is around the same price or more expensive than this. So it's just way too early to tell whether or not the bolts are gonna hold up over time through thousands and thousands of rounds. I've heard people quoting these bolts going down around the 2,000 to 3,000 round mark, which is substantially sooner than an AR-15 bolt is expected to go down. Those are expected to last thousands, tens of thousands of rounds before having issues. But because the bolt face is machined so thin to make up for the larger base of the case in the back, it thins those walls out and it causes lugs to shear off under the pressure of higher firing schedules. It obviously depends very highly on how fast you're shooting it, how hot you're getting it, how often you're shooting it, so on and so forth. But for me, it's just way too early to tell. And it's like when the new Gen 4 Tacomas came out, right? Like everyone knew that the Gen 3s ran forever. They'd run for 200,000-300,000 miles. Now you have this new version that comes out and everyone's like, well, they seem legit, but it's just too early to tell how they're gonna hold up over time. And not only this bolt and this barrel, but how are they gonna improve it so that in the future you have bolts lasting as long as barrels are gonna last, right? 10 to 12, 15,000 rounds, depending on the type of barrel you have. So that's the third reason. I guess you can kind of tie in the ammo price and ammo availability as well in that third, or make it a fourth, right? So those are the kind of the major reasons that I could see somebody pausing or hesitating to jump on the 6-ARC bandwagon because of. Some of those have kind of been mitigated by the better magazines from Geisley and the stronger bolts from JP and Noveske, but it's just too early to tell in my opinion, especially for my sample size, 1 of 1, to be able to say this is going to be bomb proof, like I can say with confidence through a lot of my AR-15s that I've shot and reviewed here on the channel. And now for dramatic effect, we're going to insert our 29 round magazine and go over the 3 reasons that you should consider 6-ARC for your next build. And that brings us to reason number 1. This thing is an absolute bullet hose. I brought receipts and now you guys may be looking at this like, wait a minute, what the heck? That's only 2 rounds. Well, guess what? That's actually 4 bullets and 1 long hole right there, 3 stacked on top of each other, and then the one over here to the left. And this guy over here was the cold bore shot or the fouling shot, whatever you want to call it. It was the first round of the day, the first in the group, and that's where it landed. Even with that flyer in the measurement, it is a 1 MOA group at 100 yards. And when you remove that, it is a 0.35 MOA group, which is absolutely insane. And again, if that flyer wasn't there, that's probably the best. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, boys and girls. It really doesn't. And this Noveske barrel absolutely outshined me as a shooter, and I'm very impressed with it. But more so than that being impressive, let's talk about its capabilities out to distance. So I'm gonna pull up my Applied Ballistics app here, and we're gonna go to the target table, expand this table, and we're gonna go over the ranges. So obviously 0 to 100 yards, so that's 0 mils of elevation. Let's just jump to 500 yards. 3.65 mils of elevation at 500 yards, and at 1,000 yards, we're at 12 mils of elevation. Scroll on over. We are supersonic out past 1,000 yards with a 14.5 inch AR-15 platform. That is absolutely insane. And with this exact gun right here in this exact configuration with Hornady 108 grain ELDMs, I was able to achieve first round impacts on a 12-inch plate at 750 yards. And then right after that, I get a first round impact on a large IPSC size steel at 1,000 yards, which blew me away because as often as I shoot at 1,000 yards, it's very, very rare. I think that might have been the first time I ever had a first round impact at 1,000 yards with a 2 to 12 optic on top and a 14.5 inch AR-15 platform. It was absolutely jaw-dropping. I had another friend of mine there who had never shot past 700 yards successfully also achieve a first round impact at 1,000 yards by simply holding what I told him to hold. A pretty monumental achievement for me as a shooter. I know it might not seem like much to all of you expert long-range shooters out there, all you snipers out there, all you Tim Kennedys. It may not seem like a lot to y'all, but it's a lot to me. And another thing worth mentioning as far as the bullet hose and how absolutely efficient this caliber is the wind hold was ridiculously light. I think I was holding under 1 mil, around 0.8 mils at 1,000 yards, which is absolutely insane considering it's a little tiny bullet coming out of a little tiny gun. I'm not shooting a 7 PRC, a 338 Norma mag. I mean, I'm shooting an AR-15 and I'm holding that little wind and that short of a barrel. It just blew me away and it absolutely won me over and sold me on moving towards this caliber and getting to know it better and training more with it. So yeah, big shocker, ballistics and the performance of the caliber that we're talking about is the #1 reason that I give y'all to consider it. I mean, it's no surprise. There's a reason that Hornady and Noveske and SOCOM all got together to create this caliber, and it absolutely bangs out of a carbine length 14.5 barrel. I mean, it's absolutely incredible what it can do. And I'll throw in a little piggyback to the ballistics and the performance of the caliber itself is the weight of the ammunition, right? Whether you're running a 29 or a 26 round mag, you can carry more ammo because it's going to weigh less than those larger calibers like 308, like 6.5 Creedmoor. So even though you might have a capacity issue where it doesn't quite line up to what an AR-15 can house in the same form factor, you're still going to have the advantage of a lighter weight caliber. So if you're carrying a couple hundred rounds of it, it's going to weigh a lot less than those larger frame calibers. Now, the second reason you might want to consider 6ARC, besides the amazing ballistics that are coming out of this super short gun, is the fact that it's coming out of a super short and lightweight gun. It fits into the original AR-15 platform, but you're getting AR-10 ballistics, even better than AR-10 ballistics in a lot of cases, out of this little frame gasser. And finally, the last reason to consider one of these, it is absolutely super light recoiling and buttery smooth. Now, right now, I have this thing tuned to shoot suppressed only with the Energetic Armament Ferox that we have up front. It is indeed a 6mm can. And in the back, we are running the CAC Industries flat wire buffer spring and buffer weight as well. They're hydraulic buffer weight. So with this system, the way it's tuned up and with the gas port size on the Noveske, it's shooting only suppressed, reliably. Unsuppressed, it does not cycle. And with this system, the way it's set up, it's ejecting perfectly between 3:30, 4 o'clock, exactly where you want it. With this 2 to 12 being that it's not a super high top end as it is, and this gun shooting as soft as it is, you can watch your trace all the way down range, spot your impacts, spot your misses, and correct as fast as you want to. Now guys, that wraps up the reasons against and the reason for the 6ARC. And now you're gonna hear, as we go through this review and talk about this rifle, I'm gonna talk to you about my experience, and you will see very quickly where I lie on this. Obviously, I'm a huge fan, but I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Starting back at the ballistics, I wanted to kind of get through my reasons and then come back to this. I wanna show you guys the data I have from my MRGGA, which is a 14.5 inch 6.5 Creedmoor from LMT, a phenomenal rifle. But I wanna go over the ballistics of a 14.5 6.5 Creedmoor versus a 14.5 6mm arc. Kind of compare it apples to apples here, okay? This 6ARC right here is supersonic, meaning it is still faster than the speed of sound out to 1,000 yards. It's at Mach 1.01, so barely. At least for the day that I chronoed it, that is the data I got. Now, if I switch this profile over and make my MRGGA 14.5 6.5 Creedmoor barrel the active profile, let's go back over to the shoot table. Let's expand this, and then we'll really quickly find out that at 950 yards, I'm at 12 mils of elevation. So the same elevation dialed for 1,000 yards with this 6ARC is 50 yards shorter on the 14.5 6.5 Creedmoor, and it is going subsonic at 950 yards. So it is at Mach 1.01 at 950 yards versus the extra 50 yards gained by going to a smaller gun, which is kind of unbelievable to me. So the ballistics are just purely better on the 6 ARC, at least for my two examples with the two types of ammo I was running. The ammo that I'm referring to for the LMT MRGGA is the Sig Sauer Marksman Elite 140 grain OTMs. I know some of you hand loaders out there can probably load shit way hotter, but I'm a factory ammo guy. I buy it off the shelf, and if it can't run well enough of factory ammo, then it's not really considered for me. But even if the roles were reversed and this rifle was super out to 950 yards and the MRGGA was super to 1,000, I still think the advantage is massive in going with something like this over that because of the weight savings, because of the lighter recoil, because you can carry more ammo, all of those things. But let me just move on to the energy on target. So at 1,000 yards, the 6.5 Creedmoor is pulling 394 foot-pounds of energy. Switch back to the 108 grain Noveske 6 ARC. Let's see what kind of energy we have at 1,000 yards. This guy is pulling in 322 foot-pounds of energy. Even though the bullet is substantially lighter, you're still getting a huge chunk of the energy that you have with the 6.5 Creedmoor at 1,000 out of the same barrel length out of the 6 ARC. So to me, it makes a very strong case for sizing down to the 6 ARC versus sizing up to the AR-10 to get better ballistics, almost the same energy on target, be able to carry more ammunition. And the only issue you could really look to at the end of the day is the bolt life, because again, 250 rounds, 0 issues besides one failure to feed with this guy, and it just got chonked after I saw the malfunction that it created. But there's really no reason to go up a size, in my opinion, because this now exists. And with material sciences getting better, they're only going to make the bolts stronger and stronger. And in fact, I have committed to this, and I am looking forward to testing more 6 ARC barrels. And I'm going to show you one right now that I'm very excited about. This guy right here from D. Wilson. And they are now offering a 6mm ARC barrel for the LMT AR-15, which is the MRP, I believe it is, upper. They also sent out the JP bolt. As you guys can see, this is known for being one of the best bolts on the market. This and the Noveske are widely regarded as the best bolts for 6 ARC on the market. Now, as promised, we're going to get back to the main event, the 801 Weapon Works that you see right here. From blast end to ass end, we're going to go over all the accessories that we have on here, how they worked, and what I liked about them, what I didn't like about them. So starting up here at the front, this is the Energetic Armament Ferox. This is a 6mm can. It has low back pressure qualities. It's got a flash hider front cap. It is a very nice little suppressor. Gets the job done for sure. It outperforms a lot of other cans in its size and weight. I've been very happy with it. It sounds really good. Deep throaty tone on this 6 ARC right here in front of you. Now, as I already mentioned, all 250 rounds were shot suppressed with the Ferox. So I haven't even taken this thing off since I started shooting it, but I did want to show you guys underneath it the Reardon R2C. This is pin and welded on here by 801 Weapon Works, and he did a phenomenal job on the pin and weld. It's super clean, and I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. This is using the PWS hub adapter mount in the back, the Plan B style hub adapter. It's been flawless. It's worked great. Nothing really else to say about that. It just works as advertised. Moving back from there to the barrel, which is kind of the heart of the rifle. This is a Noveske Afghan 14.5 inch 1-in-7 twist stainless steel 6mm ARC barrel that I had Colton over at 801 Weapon Works pin the gas block on. So it's a Noveske gas block, Noveske barrel, Noveske gas tube, and Noveske bolt. I have absolutely nothing bad to say about this barrel. It has worked phenomenally well. It has a medium profile, I would say. It's kind of a Hansen's type where it's thicker in the back and then kind of tapers down towards the front. I'd say it's a very effective barrel profile for shooting moderately high rates of fire and maintaining accuracy. It just really performs. There's really no bells or whistles to it. It just works, and it works really well. Now, as far as the gas port sizing, I want to go over this with you guys real quick. So this is the workup that you get with an 801 Weapon Works build. It is extremely thorough and detailed, but I'm going to reference this for the gas port size because I think from what he told me, Noveske recently changed the size of their gas ports on these barrels to be much more conservative, because I had been hearing from everybody, you need an adjustable gas block, you need a flow through can, it's going to be super over gas, it's going to be gas in your face, and this thing couldn't be more pleasant. I mean, it really shoots better than most of my AR-15s. It shoots way better than my Daniel Defense AR-15s. A big part of that's probably the heavy spring and weight in the back, but I digress. It shoots very soft. So I was very surprised when I first put this setup together, heavier buffer weight and spring, anticipating it to be overgassed without the flow through can and without the adjustable gas block. Voila, it wouldn't even cycle without the can on there. And I had to put the can on there and it started cycling perfectly. It was a complete accident, but once it's working perfect like a sewing machine, I really didn't want to change it. I probably will eventually switch out the buffer weight and spring in here to go lighter so that it will function without the can, if for whatever reason the can goes down. Getting back to the gas port size, it has a gas port size of 0.074. This guy goes through literally everything on this build in here. It's pretty incredible, and I have to give a huge shout out and a big thank you to him for sending out this upper, because without him, none of this would have been possible. So huge shout out to 801 Weapon Works. If you guys are in the market for having an upper assembled with some really quality parts and it being done really, really well, hit him up. And his work shows through the accuracy and the reliability that I got through this rifle. Moving back from there to the handguard, this is the Ripcord LDR-C in FDE with the grip tapes applied. So they have these little grip tape inlays in here, which are really nice. I gotta say, I fell in love with the look of this ripcord because I saw one that had the built-in ARCA on the bottom. Unfortunately, Colton, when he sent this out, did not have one of those in stock. This is what he had, but it worked phenomenally well. It's got steel reinforced anti-rotation QD sockets on the 45s, exactly where you want them. It's got a big old barrel nut up here in the front, much like the Geisley, and has these two anti-rotation tabs on the bottom of the upper receiver here that contact down here down low. Moving back to the barrel real quick, he has a bunch of notes on here, so I'm just going to read through them. Headspace pass, yes. Passes visual checks, bore scope and gauges, 5/8 by 24, which we skipped over that part. It is a 30 cal thread pitch essentially. And it also passed the thread gauge and alignment check. So we checked the threads for bore concentricity to make sure you wouldn't have any issues with a baffle strike on your suppressor. Gas block is Noveski, screws, torque to 40 inch-pounds, red Loctite applied. Gas tube passes size, gauge, and visual checks. This guy is so thorough. I love this. Test fired, 5 rounds semi-auto, 5 rounds full auto. Now getting back to the upper receiver group, this is a BAD upper, visual checks pass, carrier key and gas tube port alignment check pass. Pretty cool, so just a mil-spec upper. And the BCG is the 801 Weapon Works 6-arc BCG, PVD FDE coated, chrome lined, passes visual checks, passes gauge checks. I absolutely love this thing. Very cool. For the charging handle, we have the Geisley Airborne charging handle. This is my absolute favorite charging handle on the market. It was my request for him to include this charging handle with this upper, and it has been absolutely phenomenal. Now, getting up to the glass. This is, I think, one of the biggest determining factors on how you use any weapons platform. This is kind of going to determine the role that it's going to excel in and where you're going to have a little bit of struggles. So this optic is the H6XI 2-12 from Steiner Optics. This is more of their hunting line. That's what the H stands for. Their tactical line starts with the T, it's the T6XI. And for this thing being a very affordable scope, it has absolutely phenomenal glass. It comes out of the box with illumination. The parallax knob is smooth. It comes with 2 different turret options for the top. So it comes with an exposed turret, but I opted to remove it and put the cap turret on here. It also comes with 2 different throw levers in the box, different lengths for your throw levers, so you can choose whichever one you like. And it is a very compact and lightweight optic for what you're getting. There is one glaring issue that I had with this optic, and it is the reticle. Although I love the reticle, it's just a little bit small overall, but also specifically the numbers on the stadia and the drops, right? Your mil markers, the 2, the 4, the 6, are very small and very fine. And even as smooth shooting and as light recoiling as this rifle is, every time I had to get back on target, I had to go back to the side, really trace over like I'm on grid paper and find out exactly where my hold was before, because those numbers are so small. It wasn't something I could quickly glance at and know where I needed to hold. And it's not like with other optics that have complicated reticles. I've shot a ton of Horus Tremor 3 reticles. It's just this optic in particular, although I can appreciate fine etching for fine shooting, at a 12x top end, I think those numbers need to be a little bit bigger, and the whole reticle could help to be a little bit larger as well. Now moving up to the top here, we have the Steiner MPS. This thing has been absolutely phenomenal. I don't have a ton of rounds with it. Again, it's just been running piggyback on here, so I have no complaints with it. The glass is very clear. It gets very, very bright. Zero complaints about the MPS. Actually very solid, and I'm probably going to be getting a lot more of these for my pistols and other top dots as well. That is all being held up by the Reptilla mount. I absolutely love this mount. It is a 1.5 inch height, 30mm mount to match the scope. This is their tall mount for their top dot because this bell is very intense here on the front of the Steiner optic. It required me to use the taller one so that I can clear that. I know that kind of defeats the purpose of going with a 1.5 and having your top dot sit a little bit lower to maintain your cheek weld as you're using it, but believe it or not, it's really not that much taller than the original, and I still get a pretty decent chin weld while using this optic on that tall cap. Now moving down from the upper into the lower, we've already talked about the CAC Industries buffer weight and spring back here. This is also a CAC Industries buffer tube and a B5 SOP mod stock. Moving into the lower, this is the PWS Mark 1 Mod 2 full ambidextrous lower. So you have a bolt lock and bolt release over here on the right side of the gun. So I can release it, and I can also pull it back and lock it to the rear using this button right here. Although it's a little bit stiff to release from this right side of the gun, so I'm typically inserting the magazine and doing it with my left thumb as I would normally do on a non-ambi lower. But the actual function that matters more to me, which is locking the bolt to the rear, is very easy to engage, so I have no complaints with that whatsoever. On the other side of the lower, we have an ambidextrous magazine release, which is great because it is very well shielded with a built-in trigger guard and oversized ping pong paddle as well. And it comes standard out of the box with the Radian Raptor selector switch here for the safety. So I absolutely love the Radian selectors. We have a Magpul K2 grip, and we have the best trigger for an AR-15 I've literally ever used. This was recently sent out to the channel by Geisley, so big shout out to Geisley for supporting the channel. I'm gonna ghost this trigger with you guys on camera because it is just absolutely unbelievable. So this guy is the SSA-E. So there's the reset. It's two-stage trigger, so there's the wall. Absolutely no creep. And the cleanest break I've ever felt on an AR-15 trigger. It's not even close. This trigger absolutely blows away every other trigger I've ever used on an AR-15. In fact, after using this, I kind of want to just throw away the rest of my Geisley triggers. This trigger is to Geisley triggers as a regular Geisley trigger is to a mil-spec trigger. That's how much better this SSAE is. And maybe it's because I've been buying budget Geisley triggers like the G2S, like the Geisley two-stage for like many years. That's kind of been my go-to trigger because you could find them on sale for like $100 or $110. But this thing is just, it made me a true believer in the extra money you need to spend to get one. But luckily, Geisley sent it out, so big shout out to them for doing so. A couple attachments up here in the front that I passed over really quickly were the Samsung Manufacturing VFG. This one's great because you can easily just spin it off toolless and remove it if you want to run it on a bag or you're doing barricade work and it's in your way. You can just take it off very quickly, which is really cool. And then we had the Stoic Solutions barricade bag. This is their slimline barricade bag. This is an absolutely game-changing piece of equipment because it weighs virtually nothing. It's 3 ounces. I weighed it on my own scale, and it's a night and day difference whether you have this bag or if you remove this bag and you try to do the same barricade work on the bottom of your rail. Good luck. This thing just locks in. It's got a very grippy texture on the outside. It locks into whatever you're putting it on. I did a bunch of shooting off a tank trap where there was just literally a corner of the tank trap in the bottom of this bag, and I had enough stability to get consistent impacts out to 450 yards repetitively. So I'm a huge fan. They've made me a big believer in these bags. They did send it out to the channel, so shout out to Stoic for sending it out, but I can't recommend these enough. Now guys, for the final conclusions, is 6-ARC for you, or is it something that's just gonna come and go like the many other calibers that came before it? I am a true believer that 6-ARC is here to stay. I don't believe it's gonna replace the 5.56. I do, however, believe it has a pretty good shot of replacing a lot of the AR-10s out there as far as the military goes and as far as civilian hands, because its capabilities, because its ballistic performance, because of its energy on target, and being able to fit into this smaller footprint without giving up too much as far as capacity or reliability goes. As long as we could sort those things out, the bolt life, the magazines getting cheaper, the ammunition getting cheaper, I don't see this going anywhere, and I only see it growing in popularity. Now, if you're still here, thank you so much for staying to the end of the video, guys. If you want to support the channel, head over to rangedaybro.com, check out our merch, go to the discounts page. You can find all the parts to this build over on the loadouts page as well. Subscribe to our email list. If you enjoyed this video even a little bit, it would mean a lot to me if you liked, commented, and check your subscriptions to make sure you are still subscribed or subscribe for the first time if you want to see more content like this in the future. Thank you so much. As always, Christ is king, drink a lot of water, stay safe, stay dangerous. Range Day Bro, out.
There we go.